Good evening and salutations, my Chief fans. Okay, Cody. Cody, Cody, Cody. He irked me today. To put it mildly, I I really wanted Drew to whoop his ass all across that bar, right? This whole picking a fight with Drew, being upset with Drew, comes completely out of left field. Okay, I don't even remember them interacting that much. Let her, you know, interacting that much. Let alone him sitting there judging him. You coming across so smug. You're doing this. You're doing that. Are you kidding me? After the fight breaks up and he goes down to the station, Dex comes in there and stops and everything. And Dex is like, "Listen, Drew is not pressing charges on you, and you should be lucky." And Cody's like, you know, he deserved it. I pretty much did people a favor at this point. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Would you like to sit there and bring up your lovely history of when you got to town, you blackmailed Spinelli? You decided it was more important for you to have money from those diamonds than it was to sit there and get to know your real dad. But you have the audacity to judge Drew when your history is no better. Yeah, bro, you're not exactly in a position to judge anyone. And where's all this coming from? This melodramatic bullshit. Listen, I get that he got close with Sasha and everything like that, but those two are acting like they were the love of each other's lives. And I'm like, bro, I, you're really overdoing it, to put it mildly. And let's go with Sasha for a half minute. I know it can't just be me. But after 2 days of her lashing out at Holly, I was kind of over it. I really was. I don't think that it should have took 2 days for her to get all her feelings out. I understand that there's other scenes and things of that nature, but after the second day, I was like, okay, bro, I'm kind of over it. And with this retcon, it just makes her look even more. It makes Holly look even more shittier. Okay, because she talks about how she could have used Holly when Brando died, when her child died, when she got screwed over by the hell was her name? Brando's mother. Name's not coming to me, but you know who I'm talking about. How she got shipped off to a mental facility. She was not there for any of that. And all Holly does is does nothing but make excuses the entire time. And of course, this is all because they decide to retcon this whole thing with them being mother and daughter. So it was more important for Holly to sit there and pull off schemes and things of that nature. And at some point, Sasha was like, "You didn't have to do all that. You didn't have to sit there and do cons. You could have worked a regular job. You could have been a mother to me." And Holly pretty much tries to dress it up nicely, but she's like, "I wouldn't have been happy." And of course, Holly, because, it was about you and what you wanted. The hell with being a mother to your daughter. This was about you and what you wanted. So I can understand why Sasha is pretty much just like, piss off. Um, so all she does pretty much is just makes excuses of why she was never there for her. Which, of course, is all because this is a last minute decision. She does sit there and say she's working on this Diamond thinks, she doesn't say what it is, but she's like, the money that I'm gonna get, I'm gonna be set for life. You're gonna be set for life. Sasha was like, nah, I'm good. I don't want it. I don't want you in my life, and so just leave. And she pretty much just kind of leaves the barn at that point. So she goes to the bar. I mean, she goes to the bar and gets drunk. Mac comes in there. Mac know why he was lashing out and everything and having a temper tantrum like a 12-year-old little boy. And at some point, he's like, I want to sit there and leave. Okay, so on top of you being a jackass and a dick, you're also a coward. That's nice. But he stays mostly because, when Mac was like, James is gonna be devastated, he's like, okay, let me not do that. So he stays. Um Now with Tracy on edge, Ned sits there and brings out the fact that Drew's campaign may take a nosedive. Shows her the video because she gets the video sent. I mean, he gets the video sent to him and shows the whole bar scene, the whole Cody exposing Michael in this very sloppy way, which I would have felt like it would have been better. Like I said yesterday, the exposure would have came out differently, but here we are. Um, so now they're pretty much just kind of plotting. They're plotting to sit there and either take Drew down or use him, like Ned did say. But the problem is that this is not just going to be a contained, isolated incident. It wasn't like it was just those two at the bar, and the only the people that know is besides Cody, is those two. Other people heard it. Okay, other people heard, um, what Cody said. It doesn't matter how drunk some of them get, they're going to remember. And it only takes a little bit. It only takes one person to sit there and tell another person, and his campaign will be over before it started. So, at some point, Drew gets back, and Ned and Tracy begins to try to blackmail him. Now, he's already had a day. And at this point, he's just like, listen, I can taint this whole thing. It's going to be fine. And of course, Ned reminds him about James. James knows. So how you going to sit there and contain that? Meanwhile, Nina gets back to the house. And after Michael and I guess Wiley leaves, Nina's like, yeah, I kind of give you some bad advice, and tells her about the incident. And it's like, you gotta sit there and tell him before he finds out on his own. And what does Willow do? This woe is me, crying, sobbing BS that I give two shits about. I was fighting for my marriage and blah 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 blah. And now she's wondering what to do. And Nina's pretty much like, all right, so snap out of it. I'll go with you. We'll do this together. So at some point, Michael comes in, and now it's game time. And Drew has to sit there and decide, does he want to sit there and get blackmailed by Tracy and Ned, or should he tell Michael the truth? He starts to tell Michael the truth, and Tracy's like, whoa, 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 you sure you want to do that? Tracy, I don't think you understand that. You're not going to have the leverage for long that you think you will have. So, he's about to sit there and start telling him the truth. Willow comes in. Willow's like, yo, Michael, I gotta tell you something. Michael's at this point is like, no, I want to sit there and hear what Drew says. So, Drew tells him that, hey, 4th of July, I kissed your wife. Didn't mean anything, yada, yada, yada. He's just stunned. He's like, what? I'm sorry, huh? And then he looks at Willow. He's like, is this true? And of course, Willow goes into it, didn't mean anything. And she starts doing a whole making excuses and whining and crying. And at this point, he just walks away. He walks away because he's like, I'm done with you. At this point, she might as well have just disappeared. He walked right past her like, you meant nothing more than a fart in the wind. So she starts crying. Nina hugs him and looks at Drew like he's the goddamn bad guy. Like her daughter is innocent in this whole thing, and she isn't. Okay, she should have sat there and told the truth a long time ago. She's a grown ass woman, so this is partly on her as well. Yeah. Um, what else happened in this episode? I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, yeah, yeah. Like a whole nother chunk of characters that I'm just like, oh yeah. Um, Lulu made it through surgery. That's cool. Um, Laura catches up with Lucky and tells him why his need, because now he has his need to just get up and flee. When it going gets tough or whatever, he just leaves and stuff like that. He talks about his emergency passport, and she's like, "Well, you got that from your upbringing. They want to run and stuff like that, and so." She was like, that's pretty much just kind of all you knew, and you just kind of had that instilled in you. And Lucky's like, yeah, but I shouldn't have sat there and left my son and everything. And in this weird way, and maybe it's just me, in this weird way, I felt like Laura was sitting there giving him a pass. Because he's like, I shouldn't have left Aiden and Liz and stuff like that. And she was like, you were young teenagers back then. The people that you were back then is not to sit there. It's not the same people that you were now. It's kind of like hindsight is 2020. But the problem is, she says it in this way like, well, you never pictured yourself breaking up and not being together long term. And I'm like, yeah, but they had a child together. So, regardless if they were romantically involved or not, you still had a responsibility. Hell, you had two responsibilities if we're going to be honest, because you did adopt, what was it, Cam? I think he adopted Cam. And yet you chose to leave. And now Mommy Dearest is pretty much kind of saying, well, you were young back then. I'm like, is that an excuse? Is that the one that you sit there and tell yourself every time Cyrus comes by and wants to sit there and see Lulu, and instead of you sitting there saying kick rocks without socks, I hope you burn in hell, you're like, well, next time you just should just call. This is the reason why I go so hard on Laura at times. Because I just I know some people come at it from an emotional standpoint, and it's like, well, you know what, Laura, it's just very complicated, but it's really not. There's certain situations in life where it's just black and white, and that's just the bottom line. Um, so yeah, Lulu is out of surgery, and Isaiah's like, we just have to give it time, sit there and see if the transplant's going to take. But in my opinion, it looks good so far. So everyone's happy, and that's a good thing. Now, Dante comes to see Sam, and long story short, he proposes to her. And part of me can't help, maybe it's the third of me that's just like, it just kind of seems like it comes out of nowhere. I know he said that they've been dancing around about this for a while, but like, if you've been together and they've been together for quite a long time, at some point you're going to sit there and know if you want to build a life with this person or not. If you want to sit there and actually commit to it in marriage. Because at this point you're kind of just shacking up, which isn't bad, but at some point this should have happened a long time ago. So it really does seem like it just comes out the blue with this proposal. Sam is like, you don't have to do this because, at first she's like, it's okay that you still love Lulu. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I'm pretty sure you probably said that before. I don't really understand why you're saying that now. But she's like, you don't have to sit there and propose to me because I'm saving Lulu's life. And he gives some sort of, I guess, probably just was not really invested in this scene that much because we all know what's going to end up happening. So even if I did have any sort of wow, that was kind of romantic or whatever, um, it just kind of goes down to twos because, well, we all know why. But long story short, she does sit there and say yes. So, yeah. And we are not, I don't know how long we're going to sit there and get the other guy that's not Chad Bill, but man, I got to sit there and say, you have another person in the role, the energy, it's so different. I don't knock this guy. I really don't. I understand that he's doing it, he just has to be there. But I think that just gives more props to Chad Duell because we all know that if Chad Duell was there that day or today, and we saw that scene play out with him, it would have had a much more of an impact. And that's due to just us really believing Chad Duell as being Michael as opposed to another guy who's probably great, just being a stand-in. I don't know. Every time they sit there and show it in the beginning, it's like the role of so and so be played by. It's just like you just feel like your energy just kind of just dropped, and you're just like, oh. Anyway, I feel like that's about it. I can't think of anything else, but if I forget anything, write it in the comments section. I want to thank you for joining. I want to thank you for watching this video. See what happens when I get it confused with doing my live streams. Anyway, anything that I forgot, write it in the comment section below. Share this video if you can. It really does actually help. And I'll see you in the next video.